But I figure if
Yeah. So we're going to do one of my absolute favorite drawing techniques. I think I've probably mentioned to all of you at some point or another that I actually find drawing with a pencil kind of boring, which is not like a slam on the pencil. It's just me, right? It's me. There's a way I like to draw. And when I learned how to draw with these tools, for me, everything changed in a really significant way. And so I always make sure that everyone does it, regardless of whether you like the pencil or not. It's important to learn different materials and how they work. And this is an entirely different way of approaching a drawing. So we're going to draw this landscape today, but it's possible you might finish it early. So what I want you to kind of do while we're talking is look for another, if that is you, you're going to actually look for another landscape. You'll pull one off your phone. You can do a search on Google, whatever it is that you want to do. Maybe you have one sitting around. You're going to turn, if you finish quickly, you're going to turn that black and white and you're going to try something else of your choice using this technique. Okay, so keep that in mind as we're going. For those of you who are using charcoal for the first time, I want to just talk about it a little bit. So we are not using charcoal pencils in this exercise. That's a different kind of thing. We're using this stuff called, we're just using basic charcoal. And the charcoal, if you pick it up and you feel it in your hand like this, right? It's kind of got funny shapes. It should be fairly light. Really, charcoal is just burnt wood. I have a student who lives in a farm outside of Portland. We haven't seen her in a while, but whenever we do a charcoal exercise, she literally goes out to her, the burn that she's always got, her fire that she's always got going with her burning wood, and pulls a chunk of whatever is burnt, like totally burnt, like a charcoal, and pulls it out and uses it. I think once Rashmi tried to use the charcoal. I don't think this works with charcoal briquettes. I think we once tried. Was that you, Rashmi, or somebody else? I can't remember.
Yes.
That was you. Yes. Back in the day.
Cooking charcoal, yes.
So cooking charcoal does not work for this technique, but burnt, basic burnt wood does. If you have the set that I ordered, that I suggest, it's called Bob's Fine Vine Charcoal. That's like, he just uses all kinds of different things, wood. You might also have something, it might look round, it might be sort of cylindrical. It might be called willow charcoal. That's literally willow branches that have been burned. Vine is grapevine branches that have been burned. But the sort of singular thing about these is that when I lay them on the paper, you can see they have a kind of softness to them. And if I can make a harder, darker line, right, using the edge, but if I want to make that go away, I can make that go away, right? So I can do a lot of soft. And if you would like to, the other sort of important tool here, there's two more important tools. If you can, it's good to get your hands on some newsprint. Newsprint is literally what they print newspapers on. So it's that crazy kind of, you can see I've done this like many times, right? It has a kind of soft, floppy feel. If I were to put a pencil mark on it, I mean, you can draw on pencil with this, but it's not as satisfying, I think, as like this, as charcoal or pastels, a kind of chalky medium, because it's really meant for this chalky medium to sit in. The last thing I wanted to say about this, but you could also use mixed media paper. This charcoal exercise won't work as well on like printer paper, but it'll work well on kind of a heavy paper. So if you don't have newsprint, but newsprint is ideal and it's kind of unique. Just the feeling of it, it's soft. The sort of soft layers sink in. The last thing I want to tell you is if you're pulling together your charcoal from various sources, you might see something that looks like charcoal but feels a little heavier. This is a compressed charcoal, and you do not want to use this. And I'll show you why, or at least not until the very end. Compressed charcoal is very dark, but I can't get rid of it. Right? So the key with this whole process is the easy erasing. So if you've got anything that feels a little denser and heavier, and when you test it on your paper, it doesn't go away, right? I can't get rid of the marks. You want to put that to the side. You want to take that out of your charcoal mix. You can use it at the very end, right? When you really know where things are, if you need to get some darks going, but you really want to make sure you know where everything is first. So any questions about that before we get going? All right, so the technique we're going to work on today, oh yeah, and then there's one more material. Hold on, I've got one more little showcase here. My favorite, now of course you can use any eraser you want, but the sort of ideal eraser for this is the Kneaded Eraser, which in its kind of gray, it looks a little bit like city putty. I'll show you the ones that I've been working with, you can see have become these kind of lumps of dark. So I can stretch this out and kind of fold it over and find clean. So the idea of this is that I can stretch it out, I can move it around. It doesn't leave marks, right? So this is going to be our first drawing implement. We're going to draw with this thing. It might be a little bit stiff on the first thing. So the first thing you're going to do is take one of your charcoal pieces, right? Keep using it. So you'll also find that sometimes the charcoal doesn't work as well as other pieces. There's kind of variability there. Is we're going to do something called toning. So we're not gritting. I'm kind of moving us away from gritting and talking more about kind of drawing by sort of measuring. So what I'm doing here right now, and you can do this along with me, is called toning. What does that mean? Well, tone is related to value. So value is the lightness or darkness of any color. So if this is a 1, and this is a 5, right? So this is a light value, this is a dark value. 2, 3, and 4 are going to be what we call midtones. That means they're going to be gradually getting darker. And if you look at this, what tone would you say? What tone would you say the paper is? What number would you assign it? Anybody have a thought on this? You guess.
About a 3.
Yeah, it's about a 3, right? It's about a 3. So we're creating a kind of mid-tone upon which we're going to do our subtractive drawing. Subtractive drawing. So subtractive drawing. And by the way, I'm about to launch, a student sent me a really wonderful present. I'm going to launch an amazing tool that you're all going to want to get your hands on. Don't be jealous. That's all I'm saying. But we'll all start with the same beginnings here. I'll start with that. Okay. So the first thing we'd like to do, if we're doing a kind of, is to do a sketch. So once again, I'm kind of sketching out the main areas of this scene. Some of you may recognize this scene. I have used it before. It's a beautiful area. In fact, I'm going out today after class.
We've done this last year in charcoal as well.
Yeah, you did it in charcoal. You know, the thing about it is, Rashmi, it's like such a good charcoal example, isn't it?
Remembered, I think I was like, okay, have we done it? So yeah, I was checking. We have.
Yeah,
Yes.
we have done it. We have done it. I promise I'll bring other subjects, but the amazing thing about this subject is
Yeah.
the lights and darks are so lovely, right?
Yes.
And that's why I'm like, I've had people oil paint this. I've had people like use this in ink. I've never had people draw this in pencil because I think it's a little tedious for pencil, but like, It's a great exercise. So the first thing I want you to notice is like, you can see the outline here, and don't do anything yet because I'm going to show you how I want you to do this. But you want to kind of find where is the center of the composition. So even though I'm not sketching, do I want to use this? Yeah, I guess I want to use this. Even though I'm not gridding, I do want to find the center of my composition, which here. And the other thing about this technique, by the way, is that fortunately, you don't, our papers don't have to be the same size for this to work, really. So let's see, this is 8.5 by 11, which, no, that's 11. So that means, okay. So here's the kind of midpoint where that red line is. This is the midpoint of the composition. Notice that the horizon line is above that. So here's a rule that's worth remembering. If you're ever doing a landscape or a cityscape, you never want this line, this horizon line, where like the land meets the sky. You never want that to be here at the halfway point. It's considered a very stagnant view, right? So notice that here is the halfway point and that the horizon line, which is here, is kind of above that, right? So that's the only line I'm really gonna give you. So I'm gonna find that here. I think it's here, and I'm using my eraser. It's one, nope, gotta bring that down a little bit. 1, 2, probably right there. Just to give myself a sense of where my midpoint is, I'm gonna do that. And now I can see my midpoint. I'm gonna start with my sketch kind of up here. So you see I'm drawing with my eraser. And very lightly and loosely, I'm sketching in the back line. I'm not getting everything, but very lightly and loosely, I'm sketching in the back line. Now, also notice where the creek kind of runs in relation to that halfway point. So I can see the creek kind of runs a little bit to the left. I think that needs to come up a little bit. So notice I'm like, as usual, like everybody does, right? By the way, I'm going to tell you, you're going to mess up your eyes, for example, because I would make the same mistake. So I'm not trying to like, I'm only saying, I know from experience, not from you guys aren't any good at this. It's just, I know because I did that same thing. So notice I messed that up. I just kind of rubbed it out and went in a little higher. I'll send you a picture. Let me finish this sketch. I know some of you are probably already starting, which is fine, but I'll send you a picture of this sketch so you can see it better. Also the marks that I've made on it. And that's our beginning. So here, let me take a picture of this. Oh, B, yeah, that turned out pretty good. Yeah, eyes.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, and here is the sketch. What you're going to see why this is such a, why I keep returning to this scene. This scene is in, it's outside, is in a place called Sauvie Island in Portland, Oregon, which is a little island community. It's a little sort of landmass in the middle of a river that divides Portland between north and south, east and west, the Willamette River. It's a beautiful spot. There's very limited uses on it. It's mostly farmland, and it's just such a fantastic place to paint. So go ahead, and when you're done with that, you can send these in so I can start taking a look. Notice that already just by blocking in these shapes, right? And having this dark and this light, notice that there's already a little bit of a vibration happening on this piece of paper. And when you're done, go ahead and send me a picture. So Catherine, notice, so I feel your line slanting a little bit up like this. And also the river comes to the left of the center, right? You have it, oh, unless that's this part that you're drawing. Do the whole thing, Catherine, and let me see it. Yeah, so bring your, yep, B, great. So bring your trees down. So Beatrice has just pointed out something really great, which is that once you take a picture of it and you send it, it's like stepping back from it. So you're looking at it and seeing it. So good, really good. Yeah, my trees are a little bit high too. I might bring them down now that you say that. Okay. Oh, so see, B, I told you, like, Al, it's everybody makes this mistake, of which I will do it too. Now, this landscape is deceptive. We will talk about it as we start to fill it out. What's going on here? Yeah, you're right. Look, see, even I had to do it. There was my original line, and here's where my tree line actually is. It's easy to make things too big. Good job. Lovely, Osiris. That's it. Perfect. Perfect. Good job, Julia. Yep. Okay. So now that you've kind of sketched out the base, you're going to take your eraser and you're going to erase out just the lightest areas. So that's the water here around the reflections. Don't worry about all these reflections. That's stuff you can add in later. But we're kind of blocking out. So instead of drawing in the dark areas, we're erasing the lighter ones. So the two lightest ones are the river and the sky. Okay, now I'm gonna make you guys jealous. Okay, so you can use this guy, but if you can get yourself a mechanical eraser, watch this. Isn't that awesome? Honestly, this thing is a game changer. Like, I'm going to keep going back to this. But,
Leah, I'm sorry, before I forget, what is the name, the style of the drawing?
It's called subtractive drawing.
Subtractive.
So,
Thank you.
subtractive, right? So
Yeah.
instead of, yes.
Show us again when you use it, please. I wasn't looking.
Oh, this the electric eraser.
Yes.
So did you hear that Jessica bought this? Jessica Pryor bought this for me and sent it. It was a surprise.
Ah,
So anyway, look at this thing.
I have it.
It's amazing. Yeah,
oh, cool.
Is it from Darwin?
it's Derwent.
Yes.
It's the Derwent.
Yes.
It's well,
Yes.
you get to use it. It's pretty. Actually, Rashmi, this might be a way to use it because you don't have to actually touch material.
Yeah. I have it. Yes. I'm just
Awesome.
trying.
Awesome. Yeah, try it. Anyway, I'll what I also notice is that I don't know how to change the eraser and I'm down to the very base. So I'll have to look that up. But because I had fun on yesterday's. It's fantastic for adding like a little bit more detail. So notice anyway, so back to this. My lights I'm getting in. And then back here are kind of some mid-tones. They're not as light as this, but it's kind of like light back here. And then light with the shadow, and then it's a little bit lighter up here. So the darkest areas are really here, 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 and here, and there. And now you can go back in with both the edge and the side of your charcoal, and you can start darkening, right? And now here's where we start paying attention to things like edges. Because down here, we can see a kind of reflection. I don't know if you can see this closely, but we can see this reflection of the grass in the water, right? So you can add that in. Here it's more kind of dark, richly dark. There's kind of a dark in here. And then it's kind of like, there's like a 5 level darkness here. And then like, I can go back in, you know, I could go back in with my kneaded eraser, my fancy electric eraser, or I can even go in with, hold on, where's my, what did I do with my eraser? Oh, here you go. I could take and turn this into, I can erase in these like little light areas of grass. So see, I can start to add those back. I can start to add those back in. There's little bits of dark. So you can get dark, fairly dark here. You know, you can spread it with your finger, and then you can go back into that dark and pull out the grasses. Where I'm paying most attention to, like, I'm not trying to draw every piece of grass. Where I'm paying most attention to the grass is in the edges, where a light edge meets a dark edge, right? So I'm really trying to sort of recreate that edge. And then I'm leaving other areas dark. I know that there's this edge in the water. Up here, it gets kind of darker. So let me, if you want me to, I can send you a little chart with all the dark light shifts, or I can just send you a picture of this without my sketches on it so you can see. Actually, I printed another copy of this. What did I do with it? So here, I'm gonna put this. What I'm gonna do is take a picture of this so you guys have it. Yeah, hi Tosh, great. Okay. So there's the sketch, and actually I can even label it, and then I'll put it, I'll remove it, and you'll have the one. So that's a 5, 5, 5 are reflections, 5. This is like a 3 or a 4. This is a 1. This is a 1. Right? 4, 4, 5, 2, 3, 3, 4, 2. So you see how I'm labeling these, the values that they are. So I'll send this over too. And then you get to start trying to add those values in using both your eraser. And if this confuses you, don't look at it. This may not be the chart that works for everybody. I'm just gonna put this up so that you can see more. Oops. I'm gonna put this up so you can see more detail. So now we can kind of see the edges better. Are these hard edges mostly or soft edges? Anybody have a thought on that? Hard or soft?
Soft.
Soft. So what does that mean?
Means that we are just blending to each
The
other.
amount of pressure applied.
It just means that like when like a dark edge meets a light edge, it's not hard. Like this is a hard edge back here, right? That edge where this meets the tree line, that's pretty hard. Where the grass here meets the edge, we don't really see little bits of grass poking up, but pretty much everywhere else, we're gonna see a little blend over happening where the light meets the dark. Little marks that will, so the whole practice of this is like kind of figuring out how to transition all these soft grasses. Notice that the farther back you go, like the most detail on the grass will probably be up here. And when you get to the tree line, I want you to be very careful about something. We want, don't laugh when I say this, we want no boobs in the tree line. What do I mean by that? I mean, no two trees that are right poking up like this right next to each other, right? That's not what's happening here. And it's really easy to want to make kind of your trees regular. So really pay attention to the variation in this. And even if you see it in real life, you're not going to do it. So you can see this tree group kind of comes up in front of the tree line. And it's partly dark, so it comes down a little bit lower here, and there's a shadow, right? But then it gets a little bit lighter here. And you can see that because the tree in the back is darker. Kind of has a different shape. If you're finding like you don't like how you're, if you don't like how this particular charcoal works, pick up another one, break it in half. So you see how I'm kind of, this is quite dark here in the middle, and really where I'm paying attention to the variation and the detail is really where the trees meet the sky. So this is the edges. You know what's really great about this, Rashmi? It's an edges exercise, right? It's an edges. It's all, and that's why I just keep coming back to it.
Yes.
Right, again, we have this tree in the front here. So, and that's dark. It kind of reads as pretty dark compared to the tree in the back. So remember to pay attention to the organic forms. Look at how fast this goes. You'll keep kind of going back over and reviewing edges. It's kind of dark back here, darker in here. I actually see little shadows. I didn't really notice this until recently, but you can actually see kind of little shadows going this direction. Which of course means what? Where's the light coming from in this scene? If the shadows are all going this way, where's the light coming from? Right, exactly. Sandra, you become a light pro. You have, you always are very cognizant of that. Notice how much I'm moving around. I'm really trying as hard as I can to get in all the, and look at how quickly this is coming together. I mean, I'm not saying it's perfect yet, but it's fast. It's faster than if I was working with a pencil. because the charcoal, just laying the charcoal on newsprint, it's like this stroke, right? Already has a lot of texture in it. It's already giving me, like, I'd have to, work with the pencil for, 20 minutes to get that kind of texture. It's the way this is playing off the paper that already gives me a sort of slightly rough back and forth edge. So I have to do less work.
It's much more like pastels, isn't it?
Yeah, it's exactly like pastels, just just in black and white. Yeah, it's exactly like pastels. And that's why, and I'm at the end of the day, I'm kind of I'd like to say efficient, maybe others might call it lazy. I like a medium where I can get to my finished product more quickly. I'm just like, if I can like save time, and I guess maybe that's my resistance with the pencil. The pencil takes more time to really get there. And that may be just sort of my personality. I want like a quicker result. This is also a more painterly way of thinking about drawing. It's less about contour lines and more about how dark and light shapes interact with each other.
Do you ever go as far as this and then paint? No, huh? Because you erase it all.
I mean, I use charcoal. I often use charcoal as a sketch, and a lot of artists do this, use it as a sketch.
But then you just do the lines, presumably.
Yeah. But look at how neat this is looking.
It looks fantastic.
I mean, how long have I been working? Like 20 minutes? Like, it's not like, I'm like, this satisfies my need for a more quick.
Leah, what are you using to clean a charcoal?
This is the kneaded eraser. So it looks like this and this, an eraser, any eraser. I suggested the kneaded eraser because it's really good for working this medium. But if you don't have it, the kneaded eraser means you can kind of pull it apart.
What are you using to clean it off your hands?
Oh, I'm not cleaning off my hands.
Oh, so you're not using charcoal, you're just using the eraser?
No, I'm using the charcoal. I'm just cleaning my hands. Yes.
It's just got dirty hands.
They're dirty.
Oh, because it's getting on my clothes. I'm just wanting to know what you do to avoid
Oh,
that.
yeah. You can just wash it off. It's just like ashes, right? It's very easy to wash off. You can wash it off with your hands.
Okay.
But I wear things that can get this stuff on. So that's, I guess, my brief answer to that question. Yeah, it's messy, totally messy. I feel like when I use this, when I teach this, somebody always gets it on their forehead, like Ash Wednesday. Someone will like wipe their hand off and it'll be everywhere. It's the people who find this exciting, this medium, like totally exciting. I can go back in and get lighter. If I want to, I can kind of see what my electric eraser will do. Let's see. My electric eraser will like give me, it kind of makes them neat. Unfortunately, I have to figure out how to. Electric erasers can sometimes get some really nice, tight. Get in here and get a little bit, but of course I need to figure out how to change it. All right, now I need to figure out how to change it.
Maybe Rashmi can tell you.
Yeah, Rashmi, do you know how to get the new one in? How do I
You probably have to unscrew it.
Yeah, I was just looking at that. I just was like, I don't want to break it, without like really knowing. I thought maybe.
Leah, you just pull the metal part off.
Oh, there you go. Thank you. All right. So there you go. You just don't want to rough something up before you know how it works.
Right. When that happens, sometimes you can just Google it.
Yeah, just not in the middle of your teaching a class.
Not in the middle, maybe.
I was sort of thinking about it, but I was like, okay. So here, let me take a picture of where this is right now. Thanks, Matt. Here's where mine is right now. I wouldn't say it's finished yet, but I would say it's pretty quickly there. What I like about this is it also teaches us about how little, where the detail needs to be, which is really where dark edge meets light edge meets dark edge. Is it a hard edge? That's like really where the detail needs to be. And once you get that, look, even just in here, a tiny little bits of variation around the edges really create a feeling of depth almost immediately. It's the drawer's shorthand. And it's the artist, it's really the painter's and drawer's shorthand.
Do you use Conte pastels and Conte things in the same way?
You know, I never use them.
No, never have I, because they have a nasty texture. I mean, they're
They're
hard.
waxy, they're kind of waxy, and they are.
I think they just feel hard. Whereas this, I love the feel of this.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, it's like pastel standard. It really is. And so imagine like me as a new young student. Here we go. All right. Oh, no, you're not gonna. Are you? Yep. Yep. See, look at, I can make these little soft, light marks with this thing. I highly recommend you guys get this thing. See, you can kind of get a little bit more, let's see, in here. I went too far. No, going too far, it's like, honestly, this tool is a game changer for, it really is, for yeah, I can kind of thin out the branches in a weird kind of floppy organic way. Oh yeah, this thing is awesome. And add in a branch and then be like, oh, I want to get that thinner. Of course, you can totally do this with your regular eraser too. I just think this gives you a tighter line. Oh,
What you like is that it's thin,
what I like is that
but
it's
it moves by itself.
more intense. It's a more intense light that I can get
Oh, okay.
on my own. See, I can, yeah, I can just get a little bit more detail. I can kind of come in here and create that sort of, you know, sort of where the branches meet. Where it's not exactly, I can create sort of more strong. You just have to try it. I can do like sort of more detail. Look what I was able to do here with that edge. I can come in here. Let's see what I can do. Maybe I can do more. Oh yeah, it's a nice way of doing kind of these light kind of grasses that are poking up.
Oh.
Amazing. She told me, I didn't believe it. I'm a believer. But you can also do this also. Much of this can be done. So as you're working, feel welcome to send stuff to me. You can also use your finger, right? Let's see. Yeah, look at how beautiful that looks. Like, it's so interesting to me. Like, so much more appealing. All right, so B, very nice. Now let's talk about a couple of things. I like what's happening down here. I like what's happening up here and over here. Be real, remember what I said about boobs. These trees are
Yeah.
kind of boob-like, but
Yeah.
also notice what's happening. So you kind of shortened notice how the trunk of this tree in the front, and so this is like a 5, and then this is a 4 behind it. Notice that it's kind of much darker back here and higher up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Give yourself, notice that some areas are kind of dark here and sort of soft. You can give yourself some soft branchy edges. You know, this is a good basic. Now you sort of get to start working. And also the other thing is notice that there's a curve here to the water here. It really curves this way, which gives us, right? So notice yours comes straight down and how much more static that is than something that organically has this curve a little bit. What's happening is the water is widening here because it's closer to you. So if you have it going straight down, it's looking like it's not getting, because of cone vision. But yeah, anyway.
Thank you.
Are you enjoying it? Nice.
Oh
Catherine.
yeah, I like it better than pencil, I think.
Yeah. So Catherine, there's too much, this is great. I like how,
Okay.
like things are, I like how you've got all your darks and your lights very well delineated. Now you have to work on a more, so we can't really see, most of this is dark, just full on dark. It's only at the edge where the light meets the dark so you need to get a lot darker here in the base from about here to here. There shouldn't be leaves. I shouldn't be seeing leaves and branches down in this part because you can't really see them.
Okay.
It's only here. And then I want you to pay more attention to the variation of how these branches are hitting the background.
Yep.
Pay more attention to that. And same, right? So, and then up here, and I can see a couple of people having this issue. So Jackie, yeah, good darks, but Jackie, I'm going to tell you the same thing. This whole tree line from here to here is like a 4 or a 5. It's solid. I can't see anything. I can't see any variation in leaves and stuff this far back. I just can't see it because we're too far back. So this all has to be dark. It's only this area that's sticking up and going against the sky where we're working variation. And then I'm noticing that a lot of people's down here, the areas are looking a little too, you're working the edges, but notice that there's little grasses kind of coming into the darks here. So we need a little bit more assimilation. Right now, if you're just working, if you just have this happening, it looks too blocky. So I need your lights to come, your darks need to go into your lights more. And then your lights need to kind of come down a little bit more varied so that you have a feeling of continuity. So you start by working the edges, then you need to kind of come back in and, you know what I mean? There's a few lights in here. So there is a little bit of, particularly with nature, and particularly because this area is so close. So it's interesting, what a lot of people did is reverse. They tried to add all the detail back here, which is farther away from us, we can't see it. But really, where you want to pay attention to the detail and the edges is kind of more up here. There is still dark behind these grasses. There's still dark. In fact, the better thing might be to do with this section is darken it completely and then pull out lights with your eraser. Right? So that you still got because I do need to see a little bit more variation down here, because this is where I'm closest. And that sort of blockiness, right? We want to soften that a little bit once we get it in. Yeah, there's a transition there. So over here, this is quite dark. And then what I can see is the 4 on the top. It gets a little bit lighter over the bank, but maybe there's a few clumps of grass that kind of come in. So it's all about transitions. Transitions, and then making sure that your transitions don't, your areas, because this is all soft edges, your areas don't, your darks and your lights don't stand out too starkly. So see how I'm kind of doing a scribbly edge here that goes over the top of these branches. So it's the same up here. It's dark, and then there's these kind of scribbly. That's a little strong. Come back in here and minimize that. So you don't want things to look too much like your grasses are little soldiers in a row. Grasses are random, right? They don't just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like teeth or something. Or like, I don't know, like soldiers in a line. Let's see. Well, maybe this will keep you guys occupied the whole time. That's also awesome. So Raj, you just need to get more midtones in here. I feel like your midtones are lost, right? The midtones are in here. This is a 1, this is a 1, and then these are like 2s and 3s.
Yeah.
Yeah, lost your midtone. And also, again, this, you've got this white jagged edge right here, right? But that doesn't look soft to me at all. Really, that dark comes in and the lights come out of it.
Yeah, I'll just fix it. Is anybody enjoying this?
You are. It looks great to watch.
I love it.
Is anybody enjoying this? I just think charcoal is the best.
I love charcoal. It's messy, but I love the texture.
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
Messy.
I notice,
Hi,
Leah,
Doug.
yours is not messy because you don't rest your hand on it because you're on an easel.
Hi, Nina. Hi, Mira. Nice to see everybody.
Yeah.
Hello. So for the next month or so, we'll be working with charcoal. Or not, if you don't have charcoal.
কিন্তু ওটাতে আমার কাছে জুমের লিংকটা
One of the things I really appreciate about this class is all the different languages that are going on.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I was listening to Christina Villacourt. I'm surprised she's not here, actually. Christina Villacourt was telling her daughter something, and I'm like, is that Tagalog? And she's like, yes, they were talking about, okay, getting better, Catherine. But notice, this is super dark. This is a 5, and this is a 4. So your darks, so I'm still feeling a little bit of this. It's too jagged and harsh.
Yep.
Really, you should be bringing dark up into this light area and then pulling out with an eraser over the top.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So your darks get darker. Yep. And
Oh, you're right. I forgot.
have you fed them all? Have you starting those cats, Sandra? Clearly starting them. Oh, speaking of, I'm gonna go check on my little guy, see if he wants to come in. I'll be.
John. Oh, wow. Still working.
Okay. Okay, Nina, so I'm gonna say the same thing to you. What's going on the sides of these trees over here? You have white when there's no white. This whole tree line back here from one edge to the other is dark. There
I
is,
erased it. I didn't like the shapes of the trees, so I erased them. So I'm
Okay.
gonna redo them.
do it. But the other thing is that your mark making, so your darks, so a couple of things. Number one is look at the shape of your river. Okay, ignore the reflection for the moment. The shape of your river has to get bigger as it comes towards us so that we have a feeling of depth. Your river is kind of going just straight, but really the river needs to end here.
Okay, I see that now.
Yeah, always. It's easy, right? It's easy and afterthought. This is the shape of the river. The second thing is that your darks are way too harsh and you need to have a more gradual transition, a softer transition between your lights and your darks. So your darks are just sitting there next to these light. You've got these like scribbly lines like this, but really grasses kind of go this way and this way. So you want to pay more attention to your transitions. This is really dark and this is light, but these still, there's dark between and behind these where these grasses pop up. So it's better to go dark and then take your eraser to pull the lights out. It'll feel more contiguous that way. Notice how dark I've made this and how this is like a 5 and this is like a 4. And look at what I've done to the edge. Right? So my mark is kind of fine. So that's where we're at.
Okay, helpful, thank you.
This is going to help anybody who wants to paint. This is going to help you with painting. Oh my God, Hermes. I introduced Hermes a year ago. Hold on, I have to show this to you on Facebook. This was Hermes a year ago. Look it, that was Hermes a year ago. There he is. Here, see?
Yep.
Yeah, we don't see much.
Tiny, I know, but look at how tiny.
Wow.
He's just a little tiny baby. Now he's like 20 times that size, right, buddy? Yeah. You are, you're 20 times that size. You are. Notice what I've done here. I can still see the lights pretty clearly against the darks, right? But I'm really still paying attention to these kind of slightly choppy edges. Over here, the transition is softer. Hi, bud. Hey, hi. want to say hi? Want to say hi? Come on. Come on up, my sweet boy. Oh, he was just a little tiny baby. Oh my God. I remember he cried. We took him from a farm, which was a 2-hour drive. He cried he'd never been in a car before. He just cried the whole time. 2 hours of crying. Sitting on my lap and crying until he fell asleep. Remember that, bud? Oh, he can hear the Sandra's cat's meowing. Come here. Hey, buddy. I guess you like him. You know. Let's see. So this is getting better. It's getting better, but so right now your darks are sticking out, right? Like a sore thumb. So how does this, like, there's kind of more mediums in here.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and these also, notice this is boob territory, really.
Yeah.
This is like, these things are exactly the same, right?
Yeah.
These are exactly the same. And that becomes probably, so really this needs to kind of jut out a little further and go in more to really help with that shape. I like what's happening on this side where the bank is meeting the kind of top of the grass. I think you've got that. And I like what's happening with your trees back here. I still think you're trying to remove the back tree line here because you're trying to show off your tree in the front, but I don't think that's helping. I think you need dark in the back.
Got it. Thank you.
Yep. But you're getting there. It's looking good. Wait till we go to ink. Oh yeah, Jackie, you know, I really am appreciating your darks, Jackie. This is starting to look really nice up here. Super.
You just have to keep telling me to go darker because it doesn't feel natural.
Yeah. One worries about that, right?
Yeah.
It's like, but it's totally, and notice that, so I would, and wait, I can see, I need to go darker here, hold on. I start talking and then I'm like, no, I need to fix this too. Notice we don't need that much detail in the trees. This is looking a little blocky to me. So I would make this area kind of slightly darker.
Okay.
Right? It's not quite as light as all that. It's light, but it's not that light. And then there's kind of dark branches, a few going in. I'm going to send a picture of, and I like this. This is starting to, I really like what you're doing in the front bank here. Let me send you a picture of what's happening in the back. Here, so you guys can really see this, where that's this area here. If you can kind of get some of those transitions, that will really help with this feeling of volume. Hey, Boo, what you doing?
No.
Oh, Catherine, coming along nicely.
Thank you.
Very nice. So you're wanting to just, so I'm liking this better. It's looking more
Okay.
this. I'm looking at what else I want to see happening. I feel like this tree is too much up
Yes.
and you need to like, so look at what's happening with the darks and lights in this tree. And you could do some work back here too.
Yeah.
Notice I sent you a short, a close-up of that so you can see it better. Nice.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah, I
So-
don't like that tree.
Yeah, because it needs more dark.
Yeah.
There's only little bits of branch that you see. You can see mine is mostly dark. And
Yeah.
just little bits around the edges.
Oh, these are looking great.
Tell you what I can do. I can open here, but should I open here? Keep it on the window.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. He's like, meow. Play with me. Play with me. All right, let's see if I can get this sit on my lap and say hello. Here he is. He wants to run around. Here, what, here, hold on, I'll spotlight him. There.
Oh,
That's that little
Cute.
kid from a year ago.
beautiful.
He's a good boy. He's a good boy. aren't you? Yeah. Yes, you are. Yes. Yes, you are a good boy. So if anybody feels like,
Leah, Zoe says hello to Hermes.
what's that?
Zoe is saying hello to Hermes.
Oh, where's Zoe? Here, hold on. Where's Zoe? Hold on, I'm gonna spotlight you. Anybody want to show their spotlight? Hi, Zoe. Oh,
Oh, she's so sweet.
really coming along. She's a good girl. She likes to bitey. How's it going being a puppy parent?
Nice. I mean, it's tough. I mean, it's just that we were not very keen on having kids. Now we are like this, we have decided that we won't have kids.
But you will or you won't?
Yeah. So after this, I'm like, we are done. You happy? Especially my husband, he's like, if we get a kid, I might have to leave the job and everything.
No one is requiring you to have children. They are a lot of work. I have deep respect for all the parents who are in this class.
Yeah, me too. I love other
can't
people's
do
children.
it.
Yes, it's very hard job. It's the hardest job, I think.
I mean, I could do it. We all can do it, I suppose. But yeah, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
Yeah. So.
Where are we at? In October, I'm going to take you. Oh, beautiful, Osiris. Beautiful. I love this. Wonderful. I'm thinking, Osiris, can you look up here? And I'm going to point. In this area where you've got all these really strong lights, can you get a little bit darker in most areas? So
Okay.
me, I see the lightest, because what we're trying to do is kind of light streaking across this way, right?
Mhm.
So there's areas that are kind of like, this area is like a 2 or a 3, and this is like a 1, right? This is like a 1, but over here, so try and get a little bit more mid-tone variation into those brights, but this is beautiful. Your mark making is really distinct, and I love it.
Thank you.
It's a beautiful piece.
Did my bipolar come through?
In a good way,
I mean,
girl.
like, what's,
Good way. You're doing good.
I'm sitting here fighting. No, wait a minute. I'm laughing at myself because I watch so much sci-fi because I'm a writer. So I watch sci-fi and I watch all the directors and everything. I'm like, okay, so my scene has turned into the witch going to the Hansel and Gretel, and you saw the guy on the edge of the.
Well,
That's why it's so dark. That's where my.
I
That's
love
where
it.
my mind is.
Notice like the difference between like yours and Catherine's that are right up on the top. You're both getting it. And there's a very distinct, my job is not to get you, yeah, Catherine, beautiful. Now you're starting to get there.
Thank you.
Can you feel it?
Yes.
Can you feel the movement of it? So now work this edge down here.
All right.
At these sort of edges, sort of dark and, you know, playing around. Notice there's like a kind of medium here, and then these lights out, and then pay attention to those lines. Notice that no one does this the same. Even if I'm going to push you to get your drawing kind of correct, notice that no one's just going to look the same. So my goal is not to get you to paint or draw like me, or to paint or draw like each other. My goal is to give you the tools so that you can draw like yourself. And if you have command of drawing, perspective, darks and lights, and hard and soft edges, your natural way of doing things is going to come out. And mine's going to be different than yours. And yours is going to be different than Osiris's. Everybody's is going to be different from each other. But you're going to be respecting, I like to call this respecting your imagery. So you respect your imagery by really seeing what it is, getting the shapes right? Like getting the darks and lights right. Because that's what creates a sense of movement. But you're not, you don't have to do, yours doesn't have to look like mine. In fact, I don't think it's possible. Well, I mean, there are forgers, so I suppose it's possible, right? But like in the normal, that's a lot of work. In the normal stage of things, we just can't help but be ourselves. So people often come to me and say, well, when I start to push them on things like drawing shapes and values, I'm like, but they say to me, but what about my voice? And I'm like, your voice is there. It's absolutely there. We don't have to find our voice. It's right there. We need the technique so that our voice will come out. Here's a great example. I'll show you this. This is one of my favorite artists I like to follow on Instagram. She's Italian. And she has a very strong sense. Let's see, where is she? Sandgallo. Yeah. So she's Italian, has a very strong drawing sense, but her art is very, look at that.
Ooh.
Her art is very colorful and not realistic and not, it's very her own scene. Here, let's see. Oh, here's a good one. Look at that.
Who is this?
Her name is her artist name is Sam Gallo 85 Rosso.
Okay.
We follow each other and like each other's work a lot. Look at that. This is somebody who really, this is not a realistic scene, but this is somebody who has a strong sense of drawing and composition. Here, I'll find another one. Ah, she's great. Look at that. She knows how to draw. Ah, here's a great one. Look at that. She knows perspective. She understands perspective, and then she utilizes it to create completely. Oh, that's looking great, Osiris. Wonderful. What mediums are you using?
Just oil and pen and that's it. But
Awesome.
there is no brush on there. It's all palette knife. I do a lot of palette knife work.
Palette knife is awesome. We did palette knife in the
Oh
summer
my
class
Ah,
when we were working on this painting, which
Yeah.
Tasha picked, right? I love the palette knife.
I
Yeah,
love palette.
everything has a different texture, right? Before you got on, I was talking to people who were here and I was like, when I'm painting plein air, I actually will sometimes use like a stick or a leaf. I'll pick it up off the ground to paint with because it'll create the thing. The world is your paintbrush. What you doing there, little money? Little guy? What you doing? What you doing? Are you bored? Are you bored? Here. Are you bored?
I have a bored puppy here, but so far she's good.
She's being good.
Yes, you can't hear her, can you?
Oh, that's true. No squeaky toy. No.
She started with a squeaky toy in the beginning, so I turned off.
How is dog? Wait, Diana, why are you here? Oh, because you moved her to private dog training?
Yeah, and the puppy class is over.
Oh, puppy class is over. I just was realizing that you're here with us today, which is so nice.
She wakes up.
In the fall, right. So in this class on Saturdays, we're going to stick with charcoal until October, and then I'm going to move you to ink. So if you bought my supply list package, it's not available anymore. Oh, Tosh, yeah, there you go. There you go. Nice transitions, beautiful. Okay, Tosh, your next assignment is to find another landscape, and I want you to just do it, okay? Because you've got 40 minutes. If you don't feel like jumping on, do another one. Find a black and white landscape, anyone, pull it off your phone and try this process again.
Okay.
It's wonderful. It's fast.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, are you shocked? You're like, what? She's got nothing to nothing to add here. You got it. I feel, Toshween, like you have really, Toshween, you guys comes to like most classes, as almost all classes, like 6 to 7 classes a week. And I think what that's done for her is really enforce these ideas of simplifying light and dark edges. So you can see she's getting there quickly. And that's because of a lot of practice. Oh, Catherine, it's looking gorgeous. Yep.
Well, thank you.
But Catherine, I am going to push you a little bit on this one. So this, you've got this like little, listen, this tree line goes all the way through, right?
Yeah.
What you're doing is you're uncomfortable, right? So this whole area has to be kind of dark.
Okay.
Got it?
Yep.
And so notice what happens. I notice when people are dealing with something in front of another thing, you're like, you remove what's behind it. But we have to get what's behind it, right? We have to get what's behind it. So understand that like, this is like a 4. It goes all the way to here.
Mm-hmm.
Line goes all the way to here, right? And then the trunks come up and out of that. We don't remove that because we don't know really what to do with that. That reminds me of the Betty Edwards book, Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain. Betty Edwards wrote the quintessential. If you guys don't know about this book, it's that looks great, Diana. It's really coming along.
I'm old. I have that book.
Yeah. So that book,
I got it too.
return to that book because what she tells is a story about why we make that mistake. She said, it's like we don't know how to deal with something that's in front of something else. You have to be taught how to do that. And that means we have to look at what's happening behind and what's in front. And in this particular case, we need to get that dark behind. And then we put the darker in front.
Okay.
I mean, it's like, it's just intellectually, you're used to thinking about separate objects, but you've got to see the objects in relation to and it confuses the left brain to see that edges of one thing kind of blur into another, but that's really what's happening, right? It confuses the left brain, but that is what's happening. The edges of this tree in the front are kind of blurring into what's happening in the background. So we have to get ourselves to see that. I'm actually doing a little bit more work in that area. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, they're actually really lovely, these little drawings. And if you want to, you can fix it. If you want to preserve it, you can take either hairspray or this spray fix here. You can fix it so that it doesn't smudge or smear. Like I might actually try to pop this in a frame because I think it looks kind of nice. It has its own thing. I can also draw on top of that if I want to when it's dry, but this will keep, and this will kind of push the darks a little bit more, the contrast a little bit more. Yeah, but you're close, Diana, closer than you think. You know what I think you could use, Diana?
No?
A phthalo blue glaze over everything. So that blue is kind of everything.
All right.
Try
Wait,
that
wait.
as this contiguous, right, thing that connects everything, that's sort of phthalo blue, and then add your brights on top of that, and I think you'll feel it, because then it'll be a little bit in the water, it'll be a little bit in the boats, it'll be, that blue is like, yeah.
I'll do that when it's dry. Right now I'm working on the ocean. And the lights coming through it. It's
I
really
love that that central reflection is fantastic.
Isn't that lovely? She's got that. And
the light in between the two central boats, that blue light, that's fantastic.
yeah, it's still time to destroy it. Easily done. But I like the lights in the picture. I really do. But in the photo.
Ooh.
I'm just sharing that with you.
oh, that's looking lovely. Jesus.
You should look at it. No, what you have to understand to pull it back and then you go, whoa. Like,
Wonderful. That's gorgeous. I love
thank
the
you.
use of blue. I love that blue, that light blue
Thank you.
at the top and then comes down, but then gradually you've got this darker background with riches, greens and oranges. That's stunning. Really gorgeous. Oh, Julia, looking great.
It's 36 by 48. It's huge.
So the only thing I might do, Julia, is kind of widen the white spaces between things here, right? So everything isn't just one line, because it kind of goes, it dips a bit more. So bring your eraser in here, but I really love what's happening all along this bank here and along this bank. Beautiful value differentiation while still feeling kind of contiguous. So quite lovely.
Hey, Leah, I have
Yeah.
a question.
Mhm.
I was trying to draw, it doesn't matter, but anyway, I was attempting to draw, to paint. But what happens is that when I go to the canvas, I already see the images on the canvas before I start painting.
Yeah.
So it doesn't fit what I see in my head. By the time I put on the canvas, it doesn't look like what I saw in my head.
Right.
So is that, I mean, I know I'm crazy, but what is there a
No,
way to
it's
help
not
me?
crazy. So I find that one has to let go of the image in your head to allow what comes out on the canvas to come out. So
You shouldn't try to fit what's in your head. You should
But
just
it's
let
fine.
your hands.
You should have in your head, let your head be your guide. But this is what I'll say. It's an act of frustration. You'll be very frustrated by not being able to get that image in your head. And I will further say that students, in my experience, which is purely anecdotal, I don't know, what do I talk? A few hundred students, that the students that are like, I have something in my head and I can't get it on canvas, quit, because they get frustrated by the fact that they won't allow the image to be what it is. Do you know what I mean? Be what it wants to be, which has to do with something with how your hand and medium and all of that. So the image is great because it helps you. If you can see the image and allow it to be your beginning inspiration, that's one thing. But if you're too stuck on what is in your head, you will lose the delight of seeing what comes out on the canvas. Do you know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Did you watch that movie Velvet Buzz? Anyway, but if you ever watch it, I'm trying to capture that image of drawing that guy. I don't know if it's the size of his canvas. Like mine is 36 by 48, that particular one. Mm-hmm. But some of them's bigger, sometimes smaller. But I'm just trying to get the image of getting the whole body on the canvas, but with it being that big. Yeah. So I'm like, is he using a bigger canvas? Is he drawing bigger on the canvas, or how are they?
He probably has a pretty strong sense of drawing, right? So he's probably worked on his drawing skills till he's able to, set those proportions. If there are people who can draw, if you're worried about if you have an image of a figurative thing that you want to get out, and Catherine, I've got a thought for you for a second here.
Okay.
But the idea is that you should be a little bit kind of surprised and delighted by what comes out. I actually never know how my paintings are going to turn out. Never. I do not have a final. I have general ideas of what I want to happen, but I never know exactly how it's going to look on the canvas. And it's like, when it comes out, I'm like, wow, every time. I would not trade that delight for anything. So hang on.
I struggle with images in my head and hearing energy telling me exactly what to do.
You've got to
place and to see.
Yeah.
I struggle with judging my work, and so oftentimes I have to ask my kids or somebody to look at it before I throw it away. So they're like, okay, just leave this one alone.
Yes.
So I have to do that.
You need to work on accepting your imagery that comes out and what you think. So Catherine, what I'm still feeling like here, I really love what's starting to happen up here, but I want you to notice that these, if I point to these, right, still too just sitting there. The transitions are too hard. So you want to bring some, right? So you want to bring a little bit more medium down in here. But I love what's starting to happen up here. Remember, pay attention to the shape here, hon, because this is the tree line.
Yeah.
So it's the dark, really the only place we see variation. Look at mine here. And hold on just a second. If you'll see mine, there's it's not like I have this little dip here.
Yeah.
Getting too much into, so you're getting too much into the detail back here, not enough into the detail up here.
Okay.
There we go. So just keep working, but it's really coming along. Are you enjoying charcoal? Are you enjoying
I
it?
wasn't in the beginning, but I am now.
This is going to help you with your painting.
Yeah.
This is exactly what you do in painting. All right, hang on. Somebody needs to go outside. I will be right back. Rod, I'll be right back to take a look at your thing. Let's see here. Oh, getting there, Rashmi, much better. I really love this look of the trees in the background here. So this edge right here is too jagged. Do you see that? I want you to paint, there's less white than you think there. It's like there's a big, like this is a movement. This stream has a movement. Look at where the actual light is. Oh, Nina, much improved, getting better, much better. So I can see this black line here, Nina. I should not be seeing any leaves. This whole area band is completely dark. There's no trees. It's a 5.
Okay.
So when I see this line, it kind of is too abrupt for me because this whole thing, it's not just about the edge, right? Where the hard edge meets the light edge down here. It's also about what's happening up here. So I should not see any leaves until the tree hits the sky.
Oh, okay.
Right?
But that's the horizon line, isn't it? That's all.
Horizon line, but notice I can't see so much detail in here.
All right.
Above the horizon line is dark. So the horizon line is good, but seeing this horizon line floating out here when really everything is dark is disruptive. So, but I like what's starting to happen down here in here. Very nice. It's starting to work out well. So please make this one dark, thick, dark band. The trees come out of the top.
Okay.
Only place you have detail. There you go, Jackie. Oh, I love what's happening in the front here. Just looking to see. This is starting to look really good. Nice. So bring your eraser just a little bit. Bring this ripper up just a touch further with your eraser.
Oh yeah, it's that bit is killing me.
Yeah, so don't just keep, you're just going to keep going back and forth with it.
Okay.
And then I'd say the same thing for you that I told Nina. We're not going to see any tree marks on this back tree line. It's just dark until the trees rise up above the skyline. So let's make that all dark.
Okay.
Really good. Yeah, this is the challenge with this piece. It looks easy, but the challenge is getting those dark light. It's got some nice contrast, and the challenge is getting those dark light edges. So this is great practice for anybody working on landscape painting or landscape drawing. This will translate to the work you do with Marie tomorrow. I'm assuming, I don't know what she's going to do tomorrow, but some kind of farmy thing.
Is my tree line too straight across?
Let's see.
The dark line, I mean?
It's actually now, yeah, so now you want to kind of bump it up and down a little bit, but that's
Right.
where we're going to. Do you see how much better that looks?
Yeah,
How much? So the reason, Catherine, is that so it's still straight. So now you want to kind of darken it up, right? That little
into
bump
there.
here, right?
Yeah.
But notice that as we go away, we see less detail, which helps us
Yeah.
focus on the detail up here. So do you notice how that balances out, besides the fact that you're doing some nice work balancing out what's happening down here? Do you see that getting rid of the equal amount of detail back here
Yeah.
makes us feel like we're forward here and back there? Yeah, but that's great. That's exactly what I want you to start with. And then yes, push the trees up. Yep. Yep. That's the beginning.
Okay.
Good work. Okay, we've got about 20 minutes left. So let's see what we can get done here.
I'm going to leave about 10 of to go meet a neighbor for lunch.
You got it. Well, you've pretty much done your work. So just do a little bit more on that back tree line, and that I think you're in good shape.
Oh, good. Thanks.
Let's see. Ooh, Julia, you got it. Done. Son, done. I don't know, Julia, if you have enough time to try and do another one.
I'll give it a go. I've got one, so I'll try.
Find one that you've got. So either find a landscape that you've just taken or find one on Google. Make sure it's in black and white so you can see the values. Oh, Sandra. Oh, Sam.
You think it looks okay?
Ooh,
Yeah, it's really coming. Can I see the source? His nose looks a little bit small, but I think you can expand that out.
Let me show you the source. His nose is small.
I think
So beautiful, Sandra.
Mhm.
I tried to rescue the other one and it hasn't worked yet, but I might need to use gouache. But let me show you this one.
So why not use gouache on the
Yeah,
other?
Yeah, that's what I should have done in the first place instead of trying these grounds.
Oh,
These
yeah.
grounds.
It's
That's
better.
much better. Yep. So just keep pushing up, right?
yeah.
More.
Let me show you.
Really good. Let's see.
Really, I'm not happy with it, but I don't know.
To me, the first thing that jumps out at me is, well, and also there's something about that shadow. I mean, I know it's a strong shadow, but
Well,
there's
look, I just sent you the original.
yeah, I'm looking at it. You're right, his nose is really small. So yeah, you're gonna want to go over with gouache and expand out the lights. I'm gonna show
Oh,
you.
I wasn't thinking of using gouache on this one. Oh, you mean like there's a place where I put too much dark?
Yeah.
Below the left eye, you mean?
Yep. So I think that's what's bothering you is his little mask of white.
It just doesn't look like him.
I think his eyes are a little, okay, so there's another couple of things that are happening. If you look at the shape of his head, you have it on this side, it's not bad, but on the
Which side is not bad?
on the right side, it's not bad.
I can't see. Oh, okay.
On the right side,
But
it's not bad, but on the left side, you have him more rounded, right? The shadow
yes. So
shape is really flatter. And also his chin there's kind of almost a diamond shape to his.
it's a bit undefined in mine.
Yeah, I think you can define it.
Right. Yep.
And define it. And then the other thing is you're going to need to lighten with gouache. His eyes are also a little big for this one. So you might take a little bit of
I
gouache.
actually double checked the eyes, the size this time with my film.
Oh, and the other thing, Sandra, is that everything on this side is darker, including the eye. So
So the left side, yeah, the eye is too light here.
yeah. So everything needs to be kind of darkened. So I think you just need to emphasize the outer shapes, that diamond shape of his face. And look at where there are light edges. On the light side, that's kind of with a light edge. On the dark side, that's with a darker edge.
Yeah, the dark fur on the left side,
Right.
the shape is not right.
Yeah.
The shape is not right.
Yeah, you
That should be out to the side of the neck too. He has that line going.
Yeah.
So I couldn't tell on the left whether it was a piece of fur or whether it ends where the white fur is. I think it ends where the white fur is, right?
Is that what you're saying? I see.
Yeah, I couldn't tell. I think it's a piece of fur.
Yeah, that's not his fur. It's something in the background.
So I need to bring in the background inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. That's weird.
That kind of threw me. I almost contacted it.
Yeah, I see what you're saying on the right side.
On the left.
On the left.
No, I'm not sure, Sandra. You have to look at other pictures of the cat.
I tried. In the end, I decided it's not his fur. But
Yeah,
it was very difficult to tell. Yeah, it's not his fur.
But in any event, we don't really see that very much. Like,
but it meant that I had that shape as part of his shape, if you see what I mean.
But what I'm telling you is, if you have more of the shape of his face right, you will not notice what's happening down there. It's not as significant as you think. So it's getting
the shape of his head, it needs to be coming more at the ears, or
it's a diamond shape. It's a diamond shape. His face is a diamond shape. Diamond, diamond, diamond.
Oh, I see. Diamond. So it has to come out. I can't make it come out less, but I can make it come out more.
You can. Yeah. And then you can use light and dark, depending on the light and dark sides. And then you really need to regain that light shape.
Right.
That you kind of lost on this side. So it's like the mark. Remember, with animals, it's all about markings. If you don't get the markings right, then you don't get the animal.
I don't know how you.
So that's the, and then darken this eye much more.
Yeah, the left eye, right?
Yeah, the left eye. So the whole left side. So this light area, if you'll notice, is not the same value as the light area on this side. The light area on this side is a pure 1. This is like a 2.
Right.
So that's,
I think I did the opposite almost.
Yeah. It's hard to kind of intellectualize like things that are symmetrical, but one is in shadow and one is in light.
Well, I must say he's one of the hardest animals, because the Bengals have markings, but they're like almost symmetrical markings. His is all over the place.
Yep.
But it's what makes him, you know.
Yep.
So thank you.
Yes, it's definitely savable, but you'll need gouache.
I'm trying to lift in the meantime.
Yeah, and lift if you can.
Thank you.
Nice. Now we're getting somewhere. Beautiful. Okay, so the only thing you need to do is darken back here.
Okay.
Right. Like you can see exactly where it is. Yep. Yep. So the white of this river really stops about here, and then we get these light and dark and medium shapes happening. You don't have to get all of them, but you just have to get a couple of them. Very nice work, everybody. Wonderful. Okay. I'm going to quickly take attendance while I've got you all here. Catherine. I knew, Rashmi, you were going to need to start drawing. I knew you couldn't just watch. It's like, watch? She's not gonna watch. nice, juicy class today. Good. Nina, good work, you guys. Really good work. I appreciate how much you push. I appreciate that you let me push you. Because we do better problem solving. Oh, Nina, now you're getting somewhere. So you're close, honey.
Yeah.
You're close. I just want you to look at, there's so much less detail in the background than there is in the front. And that's because the back is far away. So you have trees now. Look at the size of your trees rising up like this. There's just little tiny pops here. You need to get your eraser in and bring your trees back down.
Okay. Okay.
Look at this shape now. So you still need to look at these overarching shapes. You still need to get this shape, that shape, right? We still need that undulation with all that white in between.
Okay. I'm tempted to get that electric eraser now. So
Yeah, I'm tempted by it.
my
too now.
gosh. It's
more
my
material.
Highly recommended. It's pretty neat.
my eraser's all blocked now, but I'm gonna have to leave in a minute. But thank you. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun. It helps with, we'll return to this subject again in different, I promise, in different, because it's a good practice.
Thank you.
I'm going to say goodbye now.
Bye,
And
Kat,
thank you.
Enjoy the lunch.
I will.
and we'll see you soon.
See you next week.
Yep, see you next week.
Yep.
Bye as
Bye.
well. I'll see you later. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Good. Now you're getting there. Now you're starting to get there. So you're doing a little bit of this sloping up. Here, hold on. You're doing a little bit of this sloping up here. This is a straight cross. This is more like an angle. So now you need to bring in your right. This is kind of more. So what you're doing is you're sloping up because you feel like that's like you're trying to go back the way you see it when you're standing in front of it. But that's not what that shape really, that's where we really need to understand perspective, right? To get a grasp on perspective. The banks that are kind of poking out like this are always kind of straight horizons, much more than others. I was just, as I'm looking at this, I'm like, oh, I could do a better job of kind of out. Speaking out. Excuse me. There we go. Yeah, that looks better actually. What happens is you spend so much time focusing on the area, you lose track of the relationship of this to other areas. That's what generally happens to us. That's okay. I mean, that's just part of the thing. I want to go back to this idea that Osiris brought up of like, what's in your head? And I want to clarify what I mean when I say, try not to get too caught up in the image in your head. I do think you should let the image in your head guide you towards what you want to be, but there's something that your hands want to do that your head just can't wrap its mind around. Your head can't conceptualize of it. And so, like I said, I mean, there are some pieces where I have a general idea of how things are going to look, but I always let my hands do those. I always let myself, I try to let go of the exact specific image. Because unless I've created it before, you know, and I have a pretty strong idea of what it is, because there's a kind of magic that comes when your hands get into the mix. They're going to do things a little bit differently than you imagine. And there's some real beauty in that. So, and there's a kind of surprise in that. And I love the idea that I never have any idea how any of my paintings are really going to turn out. And then I step back and I'm like, I think that's what keeps me painting. Otherwise, I'd be really bored. You know, it would be boring if you kind of knew exactly how your painting was going to turn out. I kind of like the fact that I'm like, I have no idea how that's going to work. Interesting. You know, what happens when these things come together? Letting that happen is really important.
So I'm going to show it to you again, Leah. I haven't used gouache, but I lifted it some.
Okay.
And let's see if it works a bit better. And I darkened the eye and made the fur come out on the side. He now looks like he has a fat face.
Right. So you're going to have to maybe work on this a little bit.
Which maybe is not right. Hold on.
Oh, yeah. Really nice, Rajni. Super nice. So good. These are great.
I think I've made it worse. I'm going to do this cut until I get it right.
Okay. Yes, and that's the practice, right? I have, Sandra, if it makes you feel better, I have sometimes had portrait commissions where I've had to do them 2 or 3 times. So it doesn't happen often, but it happens where I just get it.
So much better.
Oh, it's raining really hard. Even Lee was even.
Oh yeah, much now you have way more likeness. Way more. So yeah, just keep working those edges until you, and notice there's this, that really on this whole side, it's very light and bright. Right? There's this little edge on the chin, on his chin on the right side down here. So,
that's yellow. Oh, that's a bit darker.
Underneath the, I'm talking about directly underneath the chin. So
what that needs to go a bit darker, right?
Yep. Yep. There you go. It's good. But it's much better. It looks much more like him, I would say. I would say you could even go one step further in darkening, not just the eye, but the white around the eye. Right now,
I just did that, but I can go darker still, I guess.
Yeah, you need to go darker because right now the white around your eye and the white around his eye and the light look exactly the same, and that's not.
Yeah. Yes. Yep. It's because his right eye underneath the eye is also in the shadow.
Yeah. So
even the one that's in the light, it's in the shadow because of the way that the face goes.
Sure.
You know, and the fur underneath the eye of the right eye.
Significantly
that's
better.
In the light, it's also in the shadows.
This is significantly better, I will tell you. You've significantly pushed it forward. All right, you guys, go ahead and send in your last drawings. I'm going to pull off the recording.